We've been studying about the third angel's message of Revelation 14, and I just want to review this message with you. Verse 9, "And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receives the mark of his name. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus." Now, we've talked exclusively about what it means to worship the beast and what the mark of the beast is. The mark of the beast, it's his mark of authority. And we discovered that the beast, in Revelation 13, the description of the beast reveals that it's the papal power of the Roman Empire, the papal division of the Roman Empire. And to worship it means you're obeying the papacy versus obeying God and keeping his commandments. This directly involves the fourth commandment of God, which says to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. And it points out that that Sabbath day is the seventh day. It's Saturday. And the beast, or the papal power, reveals that it commands people to worship on the first day of the week, Sunday. And they claim this is their mark of authority, that they have been able to do this and the whole world follows them. So in verse 9 it says, "If any man worship the beast and his image." So what is the image of the beast and what does that involve? Well, we just simply turn to Revelation 13 again and continue to read where we left off, reading verses 11 through 18. "I beheld another beast." This is a different beast than the beast of the beginning of Revelation 13, "coming up out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that understandeth count the number of the beasts, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, or other words, 666. So we're going to go over these characteristics of this two-horned beast, this other beast, and you notice that in contrast to the beast of verse 1 of Revelation 13, the two-horned beast comes up out of the earth, has two horns like a lamb, speaks as a dragon, causes the earth to worship the first beast, deceives them on the earth by miracles, says to those on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, that first beast of Revelation 13, that papal power, that papal division of the Roman Empire. Those who do not worship the image of the beast should be killed. causes all to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And if you don't have that mark, you cannot buy or sell unless you have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, which is 666. So we're going to go over these characteristics one by one, starting with he comes up out of the earth. So we see in Revelation 13:1 that John is seen in this vision, a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon its horns 10 crowns, and upon its heads the name of blasphemy. Now, we've already gone over all these characteristics of this first beast in Revelation 13:1. But notice that this first beast coming up out of the sea, that the sea or the waters represent peoples, multitudes, and nations and tongues. We find that in Revelation 17:15. And so this papal power, the papal division of the Roman Empire, came out among many multitudes of people and nations and tongues. In contrast to the two-horned beast, it comes up out of the earth. So if water represents peoples, nations, and tongues, the earth must represent a place where there's not a lot of people. And it comes up out of the earth about the time that this first beast receives its deadly wound to its head, the deadly wound that would be healed. And we know that the papal power was for 42 months, or in Bible prophecy represents 1,260 years, which started in 538 AD when the Roman Emperor Justinian declared the Pope, or the Bishop of Rome, to be head of all the churches. And we know that he received the deadly wound in 1798 when Berthier, the French general, came into Rome and captured the Pope and took him prisoner. So we know that this beast, this power, this nation that comes up out of the earth comes about that time in 1779. So let's go to the second characteristic. Has horns like a lamb. So these horns represent civil liberty and religious liberty. No pope and no king. This beast, this power, this nation that comes up out of the earth is a place of freedom. Freedom from oppression from a king or a pope. And you notice that the characteristic of this beast is as a lamb, a gentle lamb. And a lamb is a young lamb. It's going to continue to grow and get larger. During this period of time in 1776, where the United States was formed, that it continued to grow, not only in power, but in territory as well, like no other nation at that time. So this two-horned beast represents the United States of America. The United States of America is a Protestant nation, as opposed to most other countries are Catholic in nature. It is a republic. A republic is a nation or a form of government that is by the people and for the people. The third characteristic speaks as a dragon. So the dragon represents the pagan portion of the Roman Empire. This beast in Revelation 13, the first beast, represents the papal division of the Roman Empire. So the United States is going to speak as a dragon. So let's look and see what that means. In Revelation 13:4, it says, "And they worshiped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast, who's able to make war with him?" So we discovered in the last few videos that who you obey is who you worship. So if you worship the dragon and you worship the beast, you're being obedient to them and doing what they say, versus being obedient to God and obeying his commandments. So this is Constantine, Emperor Constantine, on March 7 in 321 AD. He declared this law. It says, on the venerable day of the sun, let the magistrate and people residing in cities rest, and let all workshops be closed. In the country, however, persons engaged in agricultural work may freely and lawfully continue their pursuits, because it often happens that another day is not so suitable for grain growing or for vine planting, lest by neglecting the proper moment for such operations, the bounty of heaven should be lost. And this is how the dragon speaks. He speaks the same law that the beast speaks. The beast, that papal power, has declared that they have the authority to change God's day of worship, God's day of rest, from the seventh day to the first day. And that is their mark of authority. And the whole world has followed them. The whole world has bowed down in worship to them. The fourth characteristic, that it causes the earth to worship the first beast. How does the United States do that? They develop the same type of authority, a religious authority, a civil religious authority that involves the Protestant churches. And how do they cause the earth to worship the first beast? By saying the same thing the dragon does, by saying the same thing that the beast does. That you're to worship God on the first day of the week, making Sunday the day of worship. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're saying, Ed, this is the United States of America, where freedom exists like no place in the world. And we have a constitution that calls for and protects the ability to worship as you so choose. You will see, if you watch to the end of the video, how this can occur in the United States of America. This is what the Catholic priest T. Enright has said. It was the Holy Catholic Church that changed the day of rest from Saturday to Sunday, the first day of the week. And it not only compelled all to keep Sunday, but at the Council of Laodicea in AD 364, anathematized those who kept the Sabbath, and urged all persons to labor on the seventh day under penalty of anathema. This is worshiping the beast of Revelation 13:1. And the United States, that two-horned beast that comes up out of the earth, will cause or rule that all people on the earth in the United States are to worship the first beast by keeping the first day, Sunday, as the Sabbath day. Another place, the same priest says, I have repeatedly offered $1,000, which was a great sum of money in 1884, to anyone who can furnish any proof from the Bible that Sunday is a day we are bound to keep. The Bible says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. But the Catholic Church says, no, keep the first day of the week, and the whole world bows in obedience. Who you obey is who you worship. The fifth characteristic, it says that this two-horned beast deceives them on the earth by miracles. I don't know what this is talking about, but these miracles will deceive all those on the earth and will cause them to believe that this is the right thing to do, to worship on Sunday versus on the Sabbath day. Says to those on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. Making an image to the beast, that beast of Revelation 13:1, is to make a law, a organization that would cause all on the earth to worship the beast by worshiping on the first day of the week. And this will be done through the Protestant churches in the United States of America. To those who do not worship the image of the beast, it will be made law that they shall be killed. The two-horned beast would cause all to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And of course, that mark is the mark of authority of the Catholic Church. And their mark of authority is the power to make Sunday the day of worship. In a letter from C.F. Thomas, it says, "Of course, the Catholic Church claims the change was her act, and this act is a mark of her ecclesiastical power and authority in religious matters." Catholic Record, September 1, 1923. Sunday is our mark of authority. The Catholic Church is above the Bible, and this transference of the Sabbath observance is proof of that fact. Chancellor Albert Smith, "If Protestants would follow the Bible, they should worship God on the Sabbath day, which by God is Saturday. In keeping the Sunday, they are following the law of the Catholic Church." Again, who you obey is who you worship. And the last characteristic is that no man can buy or sell unless he has the mark, the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And just to talk about the mark a little bit, it talks about receiving the mark in their right hand or in their forehead. In your forehead, in your brain, in the front part of your brain, is called the executive center. It's where you have your reasoning powers, you make decisions, you make choices. And those that receive a mark in their forehead are going to believe that this is the right thing to do, that everyone should worship on the first day of the week. Those that receive the mark in the right hand don't believe that this is right to do, but they go along with it because if they don't, they're going to suffer the consequences. So this last characteristic says no man can buy or sell unless he has the mark, the name of the beast, and the number of his name. I know, again, you're saying, this is the United States of America. It's amazing how quickly we forget COVID-19. Unless you had a little card that you had proof that you're vaccinated, you wouldn't be allowed into certain businesses. You can buy their products, and you don't think it can happen again? Unless someone has the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name, you won't be able to buy or sell. Now, what is the number of his name, this beast of Revelation 13:1? This is the papal crown. On it has written Vicarius Filii Dei. So this title that the Pope wears means this. Vicarius is substituting for or in place of. Filii means son, and Dei or Dei means God. So this is the claim that the Pope is in the place of the Son of God or in the place of God himself. And so when you look at the Roman language, which is Latin, and remember that these Roman numerals associated with different letters had different values. So let's look at this phrase, Vicarius Filii Dei. The letter I equals 1 in the Roman language, in Roman Latin. V or U represents 5. X equals 10. L equals 50. C equals 100. D equals 500. And M equals 1,000. So when you apply this to this phrase, Vicarius Filii Dei, what do these numbers add up to? Do the math yourself. And you'll find that you'll have 112 value under Vicarius. Filii is 53. Dei is 501, which add up to 666, the number of the beast's name. Now again, you're saying, we live in the United States of America. This cannot happen. This is so far-fetched. It's impossible. This is the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peacefully assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. This mandate for leadership is called 2025, represents a conservative plan that will start on January the 20th, 2025, the date that Donald J. Trump will begin his second term of office as the President of the United States. In this booklet, there's a section called the General Welfare. In Section 18, we see the Department of Labor and related agencies. This was written by a gentleman named Jonathan Berry. Who is Jonathan Berry? Well, he's a lawyer that provides strategic counsel and litigates on issues at the intersection of law, politics, and public policy. In government, Mr. Berry headed the regulatory office at the U.S. Department of Labor, where he oversaw the development process of dozens of proposals and final rules. As the regulatory policy officer, he regularly represented the department to the Executive Office of the President and the Office of Management and Budget. During Mr. Berry's tenure, the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs credited the Department of Labor with over $10 billion in deregulatory cost savings for the American public. Mr. Berry previously served at the Department of Justice's Office of Legal Policy, where he assisted with the confirmations of Associate Justice Neil Gorch and dozens of other federal judges, and also with the development of the Sessions and Brand memos on proper use of sub-regulatory guidance documents. He also served as chief counsel to the President-elect Trump transition, advising on ethics and legal policy. So you can see this gentleman has a lot of experience interacting with the federal government, not only just the federal government, but with Donald Trump's transition team and probably Donald Trump himself. So let's see what this man writes in this 2025 mandate. This is a PDF copy of this document. And I'm just going to scroll up here a little bit. And you can see that this is developed in 2023 by the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative organization in Washington, D.C. And this is their plan for the government of the United States starting on January the 20th, 2025. And let's look at this section that Mr. Berry wrote. We're going to go to page 589. And I'm going to enlarge this so you can see it. He has a section here called Sabbath Rest. It says, God ordained the Sabbath as a day of rest, and until very recently, the Judeo-Christian tradition sought to honor that mandate by moral and legal regulation of work on that day. Moreover, a shared day off makes it possible for families and communities to enjoy time off together, rather than as autonomized individuals, and provides a healthier cadence of life for everyone. Unfortunately, that communal day of rest has eroded under the pressures of consumerism and secularism, especially for low-income workers. Now, this should sound familiar. The Pope was saying the same thing in 2022. And he was going to have a conference that brings all the world leaders, all the celebrities, all the sports figures together to promote this. Except it didn't happen because COVID happened. But these are some of the same things that the Pope was saying back in 2022. So here's his recommendation. It says Congress should encourage communal rest by amending the Fair Labor Standards Act to require that workers be paid time and a half for hours worked on the Sabbath. That day would default to Sunday. You notice here he's attributing or identifying the Sabbath as Sunday, except for employers with sincere religious observance of a Sabbath at a different time. For an example, Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, which just happens to be the Sabbath of the Bible. The obligation would transfer to that period instead. Houses of worship, to the limited extent that they may have FLSA-covered employees, and employers legally are required to operate around the clock, such as hospitals and first responders, would be exempt, as would workers otherwise exempt from overtime. Does this sound a little bit like that Voice of the Dragon, Constantine's declaration that Sunday should be the day of rest? He has an alternative view. Well, some conservatives believe that the government should encourage certain religious observances by making it more expensive for employers and consumers not to partake in those observances. That's what he's suggesting, to make it so costly for employers that they're going to have people off on that day. Other conservatives believe that the government's role is to protect the free exercise of religion by eliminating barriers as opposed to erecting them. Whereas imposing overtime rules on the Sabbath, remember his identification of the Sabbath is actually Sunday, would lead to higher costs and limit access to goods and services and reduce work available on the Sabbath, while also incentivizing some people through higher wages to desire to work on the Sabbath. The proper role of government in helping to enable individuals to practice their religion is to reduce barriers to work options and to fruitful employer and employee relationships. The results, ample job options that do not require work on the Sabbath. And remember, his definition of Sabbath is Sunday, the first day of the week, so that individuals and roles that sometimes do require Sabbath work are empowered to negotiate directly with their employee to achieve their desired schedule. So this is in this plan of 2025 that is due to start on January 20th, 2025. This is an article or opinion written by the School of Law at Cornell University. And the title of this is Sunday Closing Laws. It starts out with quoting the First Amendment. Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. He then goes on to state, the history of Sunday closing laws go back into the United States colonial history and far back into English history. Commonly, the laws required the observance of the Christian Sabbath as a day of rest. And remember that this Christian Sabbath is referred to as Sunday. It's not referring to the Sabbath day of the Bible, the fourth commandment. Although in recent years they have tended to become honeycombed with exceptions. The Supreme Court rejected an establishment clause challenge to Sunday closing laws in McGowan versus Maryland. The court acknowledged that historically the laws have a religious motivation and were designed to effectuate concepts of Christian theology. However, in light of the evolution of our Sunday closing laws through the centuries and of their more or less recent emphasis on secular considerations, it is not difficult to discern that as presently written and administered, most of them, at least, are of a secular rather than of a religious character, and that presently they bear no relationship to the establishment of religion. What are they saying? We'll just simply say it's a secular law versus a religious law. The fact that this prescribed day of rest is Sunday, a day of particular significance for the dominant Christian sects, does not bar the state from achieving its secular goals. To say that the state cannot prescribe Sunday as the day of rest for these purposes solely because centuries ago such laws had their genesis in religion would give a constitutional interpretation of hostility to the public welfare rather than one of mere separation of church and state. So we'll just say this is a secular law. It's for the public benefit, the public welfare, and has nothing to do with a religious concept, and that way we can maintain this separation of church and state. The choice of Sunday as the day of rest, although originally religious, now reflects simple legislative inertia or recognition that Sunday was a traditional day for the choice. Valid secular reasons exist for not simply requiring one day of rest and leaving to each individual to choose the day. Reasons because of ease of enforcement and assuring a common day in the community for rest and leisure. They're saying it doesn't make sense to allow people to choose their own day. We need a day that each person has to perform this activity to make it easier to enforce and make it a common day in the community for rest and leisure. Later, a state statute maintaining that employees honor the Sabbath day of the employee's choice was held invalid as having the primary effect of promoting religion by weighing the employee's Sabbath choice over all other interests. So, in a nutshell, what this paper is saying is that we recognize that there are Sunday closing laws in the past that were made for religious reasons. And they were invalidated by the Supreme Court because of that very fact, because it did not promote separation of church and state. But now we decided we can just claim that these laws are for secular reasons, for promoting community wellness, for the family, for rest and leisure. And that has nothing to do with religion, so that will make it okay. Except, what day are they choosing? The first day of the week, Sunday. The day that the dragon, pagan Rome, declares is a day of rest. The day that the beast of Revelation 13:1 declares as a day of rest, that they are above the Bible, and that this day of rest of the first day of the week, that all the world bows to them because they're being obedient to the Catholic Church versus to the law of God, the Ten Commandments. Still not convinced that it can happen and possibly happen soon? Look at this next video of Donald J. Trump.
I'm proud to be partnering with my very good friend Lee Greenwood, who doesn't love his song, God Bless the USA, in connection with promoting the God Bless the USA Bible. This Bible is the King James Version and also includes our Founding Father documents, yes, the Constitution, which I'm fighting for every single day, very hard, to keep Americans protected. Also, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance are all part of this God Bless the USA Bible, and it's just very important and very important to me. I want to have a lot of people have it. You have to have it for your heart, for your soul. Many of you have never read them and don't know the liberties and rights you have as Americans and how you are being threatened to lose those rights. It's happening all the time. It's a very sad thing that's going on in our country, but we're going to get it turned around. Religion and Christianity are the biggest things missing from this country, and I truly believe that we need to bring them back, and we have to bring them back fast. I think it's one of the biggest problems we have. That's why our country is going haywire. We've lost religion in our country. All Americans need a Bible in their home, and I have many It's my favorite book. It's a lot of people's favorite book. This Bible is a reminder that the biggest thing we have to bring back America and to make America great again is our religion. Religion is so important. It's so missing, but it's going to come back, and it's going to come back strong, just like our country is going to come back strong. In the end, we do not answer to bureaucrats in Washington. We answer to God in heaven. Christians are under siege. We must protect content that is pro-God. We love God, and we have to protect anything that is pro-God. We must defend God in the public square and not allow the media or the left-wing groups to silence, censor, or discriminate against us. We have to bring Christianity back into our lives and back into what will be again a great nation. Our founding fathers did a tremendous thing when they built America on Judeo-Christian values. Now that foundation is under attack, perhaps as never before. What can we do? Stand up, speak out, and pray that God will bless America again. I'm proud to endorse and encourage you to get this Bible. We must make America pray again. Pray, get educated, get motivated, and stand with me and the legions of Americans asking God to bless our great nation, to bring our great nation back, and to make America great again. I'm proud to partner with Lee in this offering. He's a very special man, both as a talent, but maybe even more so as a human being. He's very, very special. And I think you all should get a copy of God Bless the USA Bible now and help spread our Christian values with others. There you have it. Let's make America pray again. God bless you, and God bless the USA.
Let's again review the third angel's message of Revelation 14, starting in verse 9. This is a warning to the world. It's a warning to you and I. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worships the beast and his image and receives his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God. Who you obey is who you worship. Do you keep God's commandment, including the fourth commandment, which says that the seventh day, the Sabbath, is a day of rest? Or do you worship the beast and are obedient to his claim that they have the authority to change the day of rest, God's day, to change God's commandments, that they're above the Bible, to change it from the seventh day to the first day? And the image of the beast is what the United States will make, declaring the same thing. Either you will agree with it and follow it, or you will disagree with it but still follow it because of the consequences, a mark in his forehead or in his hand. Those that do this will drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Notice who the saints are. Here are they that keep the commandments of God, all 10 of them, and the faith of Jesus. Who will you obey? Who will you worship? I hope you take these things seriously, and may God continue to bless you as you study his word.